But it was such an incredible religious experience to be there for first the Shabbat dinner and Passover, and also the beginning of Holy Week. Well, lo and behold, would you know, that weekend was also Muhammad's birthday. This was Muhammad's everything this year. Greek Easter, Catholic Easter, Passover, Muhammad's birthday, all of it on the same weekend. So Mr. Ellison was able to, as I'm sure he told you, pray at the mosque in Jerusalem. So for our group, which had Holocaust survivor Tom Lantos, strong supporter of Israel as well, Mr. Waxman, whom we'll be hearing from next, I don't have to tell you his credentials. We had Nick Del Rejo, who's an Arab American, first Muslim American elected to the Congress, Mr. Ellison, and then the rest of us in the group. And it was quite an experience. So in that spirit, we went, and the purpose of our visit was to assess on the ground what was happening in terms of our responsibilities for our national security, and a part of that, the war on terror. Our message was a clear one every place we went, and that Israel is our friend, the friend of the United States. We make no qualification about that. And your friendship with Israel is an important part of any potential friendship you want to have with the United States. We did deliver a message from the Prime Minister, as he instructed us, asked us to do, to the President of Syria, exactly as he described it. As you can imagine, Tom Lantos and Henry Waxman would be very forceful in that regard. For some reason, the administration thought they should weigh in and question that. But again, that's what we're dealing with here. The point I want to make on that is, this administration does not want to have dialogue, and everyone else is engaged in dialogue. The internet, I feel like saying to them, do you understand what is happening on the internet? And I've been in the Middle East any number of times, and this time I come home back with such hope, because whether I was in Saudi Arabia, or Israel, or the Palestinian territories, or Lebanon, or Syria, every place we went, young people, women, enlightened other people, were saying the same thing. We are weary of these wars. Do our leaders have the political courage to take the risks necessary to end these wars? Let us get done with all of it and get on with our future. Women, young people all want a better future. They want an economy that gives them a place to participate. They're concerned about global warming, as you all are here. The concerns that we heard were similar to concerns you would hear in the United States. So there's a battle fatigue, again, a war weariness that we are going to have to understand is propelling our young people into the future, and they are in communication with each other. Yes, you hear sometimes, I didn't hear much of it, that whole drive Israel into the sea stuff. That's almost stale. It's like, make the peace, get the job done, so we can get on with our future. Now, we have no illusions about the leadership in some of these countries. No illusions. It's distrust and verify. But it is important for us to know that there's a generational change that is taking place. And if we decide that we're going to draw lines where we're not going to talk to people, we're going to be in a box as a company with those lines having been drawn in the sand in every place. So I'm optimistic. We're talking about Israeli-Palestinian conflict. People are now just ready, I believe, to move on, whatever country we went to. And we are the United States of America, the greatest country that ever existed on the face of the earth. We think, we believe, I do, and yet we cannot demonstrate our greatness. All we want to do is demonstrate our strength. And we have to do both. And our strength strength is defined not only in our military might and greatness and our military might, but in the health and well-being of the American people. And thank all of you. Thank all of you for what you are doing to promote a fair and equitable domestic agenda for our country. In November, we had a call for change in the election and for a new direction. And nowhere was that call more eloquent and more clear than the change in direction in the war in Iraq. And again, I thank you. Democrats are putting forth what was a reasonable alternative to the president's course of action, which is to say that there should be for president's own benchmarks. The president's own benchmarks. Every general has told us this war cannot be won solely militarily. No amount of soldiers and military might can bring political reconciliation where there is none. That has been clear from the start. And so we are insisting that the benchmarks that the president put forth, that the Iraqi government accepted, should be honored. And that's what our bill says. And if they are not, then we should begin a responsible drawdown. And even if they are, just one timetable or another, we should begin a responsible drawdown of our troops. That our mission should change from combat to training, to protecting our diplomats, to fighting terrorism, and to remain in the region over the horizon to protect the interests of our country and our friends in the region. So it isn't any kind of precipitous up and run, and we don't have any business in the Middle East or anything like that. But what it is something that supports our troops, honors our commitments to our veterans, and holds the Iraqi government accountable. That's the conversation we want to have with the president. We want to reach out to him in friendship and say, Mr. President, the American people have spoken. 70% of them do not approve of what is happening with this war, and we need to go down a different path so that we don't keep sending more of our young people into harm's way when the people we're there to help refuse to take the political, diplomatic, and economic initiatives necessary for peace. What are they? To amend their constitution, to relieve the civil strife, to relieve the violence, to have real reconstruction, not $10 billion disappearing in thin air, but real reconstruction that creates jobs, as I said before, that give people some hope. And third, to engage in the diplomacy that is necessary